Sunday, October 27th, 1:32 a.m. 1:32 a.m.
Okay. Yeah, all right. The call went through. I have bars. All right, listen. I'm out in the fog. I tied the line I made around my waist, right? And I tied the other end to the porch rail. But I'm lost. I'm lost now. I know I'm not alone out here. Okay, I'm not alone. I've been hidden here a little while under a deadfall of trees down at the bottom of the hill by what's left of one of the old stone walls. If I die here, I need people to know that this place is not safe. This place is not right. All right, this is what happened. I got a short distance from the house, I started paying out, the safety line. I heard this harsh tone, this droning sound. I think I might have mentioned it before, but it's worse. It was worse today. It was louder. Maybe louder's not the right word. More intense. It's like a vibration. It just rattles in your skull. It's more of a feeling than a sound. It's the only thing like a sound out here, except for the noise I'm trying not to make, and that weird background, I don't know what you call it. I'm calling it the fog static. It's a weird noise in the fog. The sound, the tone I heard, it felt like, and this is hard to explain, it felt like a warning. Don't go this way. Don't come toward this noise. It had a threatening feeling, like how a car alarm makes you feel, irritated and upset. So I had this feeling that I would suffer a lot more if I went closer to the source of whatever that vibrating tone was. It hurt my head, so I didn't go that way. It sounded like it was off someplace to the right of the porch and way down the hill, probably in the woods. Wait a second. I thought I heard something, but no. Okay. Anyway, so I didn't follow the tone. I kept walking down the hill into the fog, right? And so I'm walking and I'm paying out more and more of the safety line I have tied around my waist. And I realized at some point that I must have walked about 1,000 feet, right? But there's no way I had that much line to begin with. The lawn is overgrown by bushes and small trees before a couple 100 feet out. I crouched down in the muddy grass to make sure I wasn't missing something, and I grab a clump of dry, hard things in the mud. They feel like twigs or maybe like plastic bottle caps. And wait. I heard something. I'm sure I heard something. I'll call back.
Sunday, October 27th.
Tempus et spatium sum causeries et es oriens pecori separant.
Time is a lot.
Okay, hey, it's me again. I guess whatever it was is gone. Anyway, so I'm feeling around in the mud, right? And I feel something that's like plastic bottle caps or something hard, and small in my hand. And when I bring it close to my face to see, it turns out it's a bunch of small animal bones. It's mouse skulls, squirrel skulls and ribs and wing bones. I'm sure it was the shit that I cleared out of the attic space. I put it out in the garbage and something took it. Well, I found it, and I'm thinking, how the fuck did it wind up here, and what are the chances that I would just stumble on it, right? I suddenly feel this horrible pain in my thumb, and I see that the front teeth of a mouse skull, the teeth are jammed into my thumb. Like the skull bit me, but it's just the upper half, no lower jaw, and mouse teeth are not sharp. So I think I must have just squeezed the bones without realizing it and punctured myself, right? But I know I wasn't squeezing. I wasn't. I didn't really want to hold them very tight. They were disgusting. So I tossed the bones aside, right? And I decided to follow the line back up the hill to the porch. I figure I'll get back to the house and I'll get my bearings and I'll try to head down again, right? I followed the line all the way back up, but I'm at the top of the hill and the house is fucking gone. There's no house at the top of the hill. I mean, I followed the line, I was reeling it in and it was tight. It's still tied to my waist and it's still attached to something in the fog. So I keep reeling myself in closer and closer, but I'm not seeing a house and I'm going further than I know the house should be. I feel like I should have gone through the house by now, but there's more hilltop than there has any right to be. I come to the fucking trunk. The black trunk wrapped in chains from the attic. It's just sitting there in the middle of the hilltop. And the other end of the lifeline I have tied around my waist, the other end of it is shut in the closed lid of the trunk. So, I'm just staring at this trunk in the fog and I'm trying not to freak out, right? And suddenly there's this loud thump, thump, thump from inside the trunk. So, I scream and I run like hell. I just run. And, I forget I'm still tied to the trunk because I'm at a panic. And I'm running down the hill and I'm running back the way I came. And only this time, I run smack into a tree, after traveling hundreds of feet just a few minutes ago and finding nothing. I go right into a tree. I'm in the forest. And, I hit my head really hard. I mean, it really rattled my brains, right? So I know you're thinking, this is all just his imagination, right? I mean, memory works weird. You can remember things completely different than they happened after a head injury, but, whatever, okay? Be skeptical. I don't give a shit. Anyway, when I get to my feet, I see this shape in the fog because the sun is lighting up this tall figure in the mist from behind. It's this silhouette. It's a tall shape of a person in a cape and they're wearing a top hat. And, I just about shit myself. I was just frozen in terror and my head was bleeding from hitting the tree. And anyway, this shape gets closer and it stoops over and it extends a hand toward me through the mist. And as the hand gets closer, I can see it's wearing fancy white gloves, like you would wear at some old time dinner party. And there's a bloody spiral drawn in the palm of the glove that's reaching out toward me, just like the spiral on the ticket in my dream. So, I'm freaking out. So I try to run away, I got my hands in front of my face in case I hit a tree and I just book it. But the other end of the line is still caught in the trunk at the top of the hill. And suddenly the line, it just jerks me back. It goes tight and I fall forward right on my face in the muddy grass. And I start to feel myself being pulled backward. Someone or something is reeling me back on the line. It's pulling me up toward the hill, and I fight like a madman. I'm fighting and fighting, but I can't resist it. It's too strong. It's so damn strong, and I'm panicking, and I'm trying to untie the knot around my waist, right? But I can't loosen it. Somehow it's getting pulled tighter and tighter, and the loop, it's like a snare. It's squeezing me. It's crushing me, and I'm being pulled up the hill, and I'm clawing at the grass, right? I'm trying to grab the ground to keep myself from being pulled upward. I'm realizing that every noise I make is getting smothered by the fog. I sound like I'm muffled, like I'm underwater. The sound's just not carrying. I'm being pulled up the hill, and I'm squirming out of the safety line around my waist, and I wind up undoing my belt, loosening my pants so I can get the loop down my legs and get out of it. But, I start to lose my fucking pants too. And I'm wriggling like a fish on a goddamn hook. And before I realize it, I'm at the top of the hill again. And there's still no house. And the fog, it just kind of parts. It just moves aside and makes a circle. So I'm in a clear section with no fog on this hilltop. The trunk is right there, but now the trunk is open, right? And there are all these people crammed into it. A lot of the people have their upper torsos outside the open lid of the trunk, but I can see heads and flailing arms all mashed together in a mangled mass inside the trunk still. All these people, their skin is like ash colored. It's gray and it looks diseased and splotchy. And their eyes are the eyes of dead fish. And they're all pulling the line. They're reeling me into the trunk, into this mass of dead people. And I see one of the people reeling me in is Mr. Briggs. And another one looks like Siegfried in his tuxedo and everything, like he's all dressed up for a magic show. And his wife, Eloise, she looks just like the pictures from the old newspaper photo, and she's got this line of nasty bruises around her throat. And Siegfried starts talking, and his voice, it sounds kind of like the static interference I keep getting on the cell phone. It's all cracking and buzzing, but the hornet's nest learned to talk. He's saying that the agreement must be honored, that buyer's remorse is no cause to void it. And all the other poor bastards that are crammed up in that trunk, they start chanting the words, leering in the dark. I hunger for life. I crawl toward waning light. And I'm still trying to get away. And the line has slipped down around my legs. It's squeezing my legs together. So I couldn't even stand if I tried to get up. And it's gotten so painfully tight. Just before those filthy, rotten things in the trunk get their hands on me. And they were rotten. They were rotting. They smelled like rotten eggs and summer roadkill. Just before they get hold of me, I hear this ripping sound, this tearing of cloth. And the line around me pops off. And I tumble forward and I scramble like mad. And I'm running. I got my hands in front of my face. And I'm just flying through the woods before I know it, and there's branches and twigs stabbing me and scratching my face and poking me, and I just keep running, and I think I was screaming till I was out of breath, and eventually I realized I need to be quiet or they are gonna find me. So I start to slow down. There's water down here from the flooding, so I just start moving really slowly through the water. I'm not making a lot of noise, and I think I'm about, a quarter mile away from the house, and I'm squatting under a bunch of dead branches in freezing water that's about a foot deep, and I think I'm going to start moving again soon. The sun set a long time ago. According to the phone, I've been here about 8 hours. I think I'm going to wait until sunrise. Yeah, and then I'm going to head into the woods and just keep going in a straight line through the woods, because eventually I have to come to the road. And then,
We need a volunteer from the audience.
Oh no.
Step right up, young man. Don't be afraid.
Oh no. What?
End of messages.